Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out big news. With us today, happy to have him back because the company is absolutely hitting it out of the park. Steve Saviuk is CEO of Valeo Pharma, trades in Canada under VPH, in the US, VPHIF, and in Europe, VP2. Typically, when you hear about biopharma, current shareholders know about this, but all of you that are new need to know the following. You think about big R&D, long FDA clinical trials, cash-burning companies, very high risk. Not Valeo. They've turned that business model on its head because they're a commercial stage, revenue-generating, and profitable Canadian pharmaceutical company. The way they do that is they license and acquire the Canadian rights to commercial stage drugs, and then they commercialize them here in Canada. So it's an in-licensed business model, no development or clinical risk. And they've even got relationships with the likes of Novartis and others. But what's that translating into? Forget about the talk. Let's talk about the walk. 2020 revenues, 7.5 million. Revenues for the first 9 months this year, 10.2 million already, up 94%. Gross margins are out of the park, up 1,600% in Q3 and 204% sequentially. And finally, they're forecasting revenue of $160 million by 2025. Steve, welcome back, my friend.
George, nice to be back.
The big press release today, Valeo obtains public reimbursement for its asthma medications in Alberta. To the casual observer, this would seem routine, but how important is this to get public coverage in a province?
These two asthma drugs that we launched in beginning of June that we licensed from Novartis back in March are going to be key to a lot of that $100+ million of revenue that you're alluding to. I mean, certainly over 100 million of it will come from these asthma drugs. These are innovative. They're really a step up in terms of asthma treatment in Canada. But just talking in general about how drugs are paid for in Canada, basically they're paid for by two entities, whether it's private insurance companies. So for your viewers that have a benefits plan and they go to the pharmacy, they pick up their meds, right, and their private insurer will pay. The other part, which is roughly about 50%, is paid for by the provincial governments for people that are not on their private plans or people who are retired, what have you. On the private side, so the Manulifes, the Sun Lifes, what have you, we have about 85% of those currently. It'll go to about 100 by the end of the year that actually pay for these two new asthma treatments.
Wow.
But on the public side, it typically takes longer. The private coverage happens quicker, public takes longer. We're very fortunate that we entered into an agreement with an alliance of the provinces, which we announced about 6 weeks ago, whereby we agreed on the fact that they would recommend to their partners that they reimburse Enerzair and Atectura, our two asthma therapies. Alberta was the first province that jumped in, and this is for those who are in the pharma business. I mean, some people are saying that was done very quickly. How'd you do that? And part of it is because the drugs were fast tracked, and they're fast tracked for a number of reasons. Number one, asthma is an important therapeutic area. There's almost 4 million Canadians that do suffer from asthma. Number two, these drugs are going to bring big savings to the provinces. These are very economical drugs. They're not generics. These are innovative, branded, patented drugs.
From Novartis.
The pricing is very compelling. And as you know, asthma can cause a lot of complications, including hospitalization. So absolutely critical from a commercial perspective that you get private and public reimbursement. Alberta being the first province. Others are in discussion. We expect probably within the next 6-7 months that the rest, all of Canada, will be on reimbursement.
And let me ask you, look, you said earlier that you've got 85% private coverage and you're going up to 100. So that would seem like, hey, everything is A-okay and you're going to be successful. But that's not the case, right? How critical is it for a drug in order to be successful to also secure provincial public reimbursement?
It's critical for all drugs. I mean, unless the drug is a uniquely hospital use, but any drug that sells retail, such as asthma therapies, to the extent they do not have this public coverage, so to speak, so where the provinces actually pay for the cost of the medication, it's a real anchor on that drug's sales potential. And that's not it. When we talk about sales potential, we have to remember that yes, Valeo as a company, we want to have revenues, we want our share to grow profits, and have the share price go appreciate, market cap increase. But for patients and physicians, also having public reimbursement is a critical thing. So it's really a win-win-win. Without it, patients don't have access to these therapies, and that's that means that they're not taking what is the best medication out there. And for our shareholders, they're not getting that growth. So again, key to have public reimbursement. You speak to any pharma executive, it's something that they devote hours and hours on in terms of ensuring that their drugs are covered at the best possible price, and without which the best medication will not reach the audience for which it's intended.
Now that you've secured Alberta, is this a domino effect here? I would imagine that the other provinces will follow as well, but that's just my assumption. Is that the case, and if so, what kind of timeline do you foresee for the other provinces to fall in line?
Well, every province acts on their own timeline. Clearly, Alberta was the first mover, and another drug, it could be Manitoba that'll be a first mover. It really depends, I guess, on some of the workload that they have within the provincial ministries. But the fact that we've negotiated an agreement with and entered into an agreement with an association of the provinces called the Pan-Canadian Pharmaceutical Alliance, of which all the provinces are members of and are represented on. Once you enter into an agreement with them, there is some discussion with the provinces. There's some paperwork to do, but essentially all the provinces follow suit. So our expectation is within the next 6 to 7 months that all the provinces, territories, and other agencies, because there are like the defense, the Canadian Defense Agency and what have you that are also part of it, would all follow suit. And again, this is a really these two drugs are really innovative. They're good asthma inhalants. So this is taken through inhalation. As we know, asthma is almost 4 million Canadians suffer from some degree of asthma. In terms of moderate to severe, which is the area that we address more, you're well over 1 million Canadians. And this is where you need to take these therapies daily. It's not when you have some shortness of breath or tightness in your chest that you'll look for a so-called puffer. This is where you wake up in the morning and you take it. You're on this, basically it's a chronic type of disease which will last for the balance of your life. So very interesting. Novartis did a wonderful job on the clinical trials. The results are very compelling in terms of the improvement in symptom reduction, lung capacity, reduction of what's known as exacerbations or asthma attacks. For anyone who's an asthmatic that's out there and has unfortunately had one of those, they'll know it's quite a scary thing where you really cannot breathe. So it's we're very excited to bring this, and we have a sales team coast to coast, over 50 sales reps plus a whole management team supporting those two drugs. They're not our only drugs, but these will be two that'll do a lot of the heavy lifting in the short term.
Are these going as well as can be expected right now? Like, how happy are you with the progress, both on the private side, this beginning to the provincial public reimbursement side? Could it be going any better? Because it seems like it's moving lightning fast.
It's moving. What you realize is launching a drug, no matter what type of drug, takes a huge effort and does take time. Physicians have been schooled in science, and they want to see the data, they want to read about it, they want to test it on some patients through sampling and what have you. That's all going in, and I would say actually, as well as, if not better than expected. So overall, I would think, there's always little areas that are going to be a little behind where you'd like to be, and others like reimbursement with Alberta is ahead by approximately 6 months from where we thought we would get reimbursement. So all of these
June to November, that's unbelievable.
We're happy. We're very happy. And again, we think, this year will be a big year for those drugs. and it complements very well with some of the other drugs. Redesca, as you know, which is our anticoagulant, our blood thinner we launched in April, is quickly becoming our #1 selling drug. It'll probably have that position for this year, and then it'll be overtaken by asthma next year. So, it's nice to have drugs, have a pipeline of drugs that are coming out, and really being an important partner with Canadian physicians and Canadian patients to bring really the best, the best of medicine from around the world to Canada.
Steve, got to ask you a question about the competition, because it's an open market and you're not the only game in town. You guys were the first to launch this triple combination.
Yes,
How
correct.
much of an advantage can this give you in terms of market penetration over the competition? And if on top of that, you're also the first to secure public reimbursement in many provinces.
That helps. I mean, there's no question. But asthma is a big market. It's well over $1 billion drug market in Canada, and for Canada, those are big numbers. Clearly, there's some big players, GSK and AstraZeneca being probably the two dominant other asthma companies.
Those are big names.
Big names. But we're out there with a sales force that's on a par with them. I mean, this is not a small company acting in a small way, trying to compete against a big company. This is a small company acting like a big company, having that number of reps out there, having a national or regional sales managers across the country, having a 6-person medical team to answer questions and support doctors, having a fellow by the name of Howard Wiseman, who's ex-Merck, many years in the asthma market, very knows a lot of the key physicians. So we have a team that has got a lot of experience in asthma, and we're trying to commercialize these products in a way that the big boys, to say that sort of in a kind of off-color way, but the Zenecas and the GSKs would do it. And I think it's going to be an interesting fight. Now, our projections, when we say we're going to grow to 100+ million in revenue, there's a big assumption there that the other guys are going to be in there and they'll be taking their fair share of this market. But as I mentioned, it's a large market, growing. We think that if we execute 100+ million for these products is very doable.
And last question then, what would be a happy market share? I'm not sure if you can share that or want to share that, but because you're right, no, Agoracom can't have 100% of its market, just doesn't exist. No one has 100%. What would be a successful market share for these specific asthma products?
Okay, there are two different products, as you know. One is a triple therapy and very innovative. The other is a dual therapy, great clinical results, but much more in line with other dual therapies there. I think on the dual therapy, we're looking around 15% market share at the peak, and on the triple therapy, which is I think we believe the real star going forward, we expect about a 30% market share.
Wow.
So that means that we expect, the other guys to have 70%, or basically roughly that we're sharing the market, a third. And I think these numbers, we've discussed them with various parties, obviously our partner Novartis, internally ourselves, and we think they're attainable, they're doable. Physician response has been very good so far. A lot of interest in the drugs. Sampling has been well ahead of what we expected. So the demand for samples by doctors, they want to try it on patients, seeing how will the patient react. 40% of asthma sufferers in Canada, in surveys, have indicated that they are not satisfied with their current treatment, that the current treatment they follow does not control their symptoms. And there's many reasons for that, not just because the drug
They're
doesn't
talking
work.
about 1.6 million Canadians alone.
It's a lot of people.
We're ready to switch
This
if
is
they can find the right
certainly a
product.
big part of our target, the targets of physicians will be saying, if you're not happy on your current treatment, why not try these new treatments, or we'll put you on these, we'll see how you perform.
Yeah, especially for something like asthma.
Yeah.
Especially for something like asthma.
Exactly.
Steve, congratulations on another great milestone. And again, what I love about what you guys are doing, you're not talking the talk, you're walking the walk. You guys delivering fantastic financial performance, 7.5 million revenue 2020. This year, for the first 3 quarters, you're at 10.2 million already. Fantastic forecast going forward. I'm going to start calling this the Steve Saviuk Show pretty soon, because we keep having you on.
No, we love to
you guys
be on.
keep delivering. We'll keep having you on. Congratulations again.
Thanks. I think this year, the 2021 year, which just ended, our year ends October, we did very well. But watch for 2022. This is a real breakout year for us. This is in hockey parlance, this is the year we score 50 goals and become really dominant. And I think we're all excited about that. And looking forward to being back soon with more updates and more good news to talk to your viewers about. And George, it's always a pleasure talking to you during, and before, and after our show. And look forward to doing that for a long time to come.
Steve, we love having you. You're a gentleman, you're a consummate professional, but more importantly, for everyone who's watching, you're the CEO leading a fantastic team that's succeeding and kicking butt. And it sounds like 2022 is going to be your Rocket Richard year. So, we can't wait for that. But I don't think we're done with you yet. I'm pretty sure you're going to be back. So in the meantime, let's celebrate today. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
For everybody at home, you've been watching, if you listen by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, to Steve Saviuk. He's a CEO of Valeo Pharma, trades in Canada under VPH, VPHIF for our friends in the US, and VP2 for our friends in Europe. For those new to the story, you got to do your due diligence. One, get to the profile on Agoracom, because as Steve said, they don't just have asthma. They've got other great medication that are doing very well in the marketplace. We've got it all neatly laid out for you so you can understand the company at a great 1,000-foot view. And then to do your deep dive due diligence from there, link right over to the Valeo website. Hey, if you love biopharma, more importantly, if you love small cap biopharma, that's not just talking the talk, but delivering fantastic financial performance and growing, hopefully discover your next amazing small cap company. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time. Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.